Drag racing fan, Between the Slicks is live. Your host, the Monday Morning Racer, Lee Craft. Thank you for watching. Hey, hit that like button. If you're on Facebook, hit the share button. If you are on any platform from Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, put in the comments section, just like Brent Browning did. What's up, buddy, man? I'm doing great. Hope you're doing well. I think we're all going to have a good time because we can talk about drag racing once again. I do have to agree with Wes Buck on this. Let's continue the discussion about drag racing, a great American motorsport. No, not just a great American motorsport, but a great worldwide motorsport. Doesn't matter where you go, you can find drag racing. You can find it in the hollers of Kentucky. Well, we're going to talk about some Kentucky drag racing here later on. You can find it in Southern California. You can find it in Alaska. You can find it in Taiwan. You can find it everywhere where people love burning some rubber, consuming fuel, and seeing how fast they can go in a certain amount of distance and time. Stan Waxberg, NHRA schedule update talk. We definitely need to do some talking about that for sure. I've also got for tonight, we're going to do some talking concerning, well, what I think the NHRA should do to bring some pizzazz back into Pro Stock, and I think it might surprise you. Brent, glad Thunder Valley is back. Definitely. Well, folks, look, put in the comments section some things you want to talk about tonight. Definitely going to be talking about some things concerning the PDRA, the NHRA, Southeast Gasser Association as well. But before we do, chime in, hit that like button, share the broadcast right here, retweet it if you're watching on Twitter. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Let me take a quick break, and we will continue the discussion before we have on our guest tonight, Buddy Hole. Buddy Hole will be on. He is the most recent NHRA Top Fuel rookie. There he is right there in the Terry Haddock Top Fueler, getting ready to blast off in Q1 at Atlanta. He's a successful businessman. Looking forward to chat with him and his journey to Top Fuel, what lies ahead of him, and what it was like for your first being the last at the Southern Nationals. Let me take a quick break, and folks, we will be right back, and let's talk about drag racing just a bit more. Yes, you can now get Monday Morning Racer swag. Shop SpeedShark.com, Team SpeedShark. They can hook you up with Monday Morning Racer apparel. Not only Monday Morning Racer apparel, we're talking about apparel for Johnny Placino, Camry Caruso, Frankie the Madman Taylor, and more to come soon. Check them out at shopspeedshark.com or at your next race at the Speed Shark trailer. That's right, folks. Shopspeedshark.com. You can get your Monday Morning Racer swag and carry this fine face on your chest wherever you go. And it's not just good for drag racing. It's good for any motorsports venture you might take. Stan, let's talk about that NHRA schedule update talk. And you've got Brent. He's saying glad Thunder Valley is back. Stan chimes in again. Is the reduced schedule going to cause JFR to sit out because of contractually obligations like they said last year? So let's deal with what has transpired. As of right now, we know the Winter Nationals, the first race that's held at Pomona, it is still postponed. It was announced that the Virginia Nationals, which are held at Virginia Motorsports Park, actually just an hour and a half up the road from Roxborough, North Carolina, and the headquarters of Strutmasters.com, they are also postponed. But we have the addition in October of Bristol Dragway to the schedule, and it would be a countdown race. I think that's great for Bristol. It's definitely a deserving facility. Everything I have heard about it is that, yes, it should be in the fall. I think they're also trying to get to the point where a little bit more weather consistency in the fall. Example, NASCAR, they've always had issues with the spring race. They even had it this year with the dirt race and inclement weather. It's a bit more consistent in the fall. I think that's one reason. The biggest reason, though, I'm sure Bruton, the team at Speedway Corporation, they wanted to have that facility be a countdown facility with everything that they have done in the sport of drag racing, honestly, with updating so many facilities. So I hope that postponing Virginia, that's going to give it a little bit more time to get to a point where the state will allow it to go full capacity. Let me say this. Tommy Franklin, owner of the PDRA, also Virginia Motorsports Park, what a man. Knows his drag racing. Great guy. And they have proven at that facility that they can host an event in these pandemic days during COVID and it be done right, well, and successfully. They've done it on several occasions with other different types of motorsports, including PDRA drag racing. They can truly get the job done with an NHRA national event in these times. So I definitely hope that Virginia Motorsports Park will come back on the schedule. I think it will. It's going to be a holdout. We'll see where it gets placed. With Stan's question, is the reduced schedule going to cause JFR to sit out because of contractual obligations like they said last year? I honestly don't think that would be the case, Stan. I think you're going to see them, whatever this season is, pull the full season. We are still going to lose some races. I get that. I think anybody will be saying that we're still going to lose some races. I am not expecting most of the Western Swing. I'm not. I am not expecting even Pomona at all this year. Maybe the finals, but honestly, I'm not expecting it. There were those that were saying, though, there would be no races in the West this year, but we've already had Las Vegas. So there is room for possibility. I do think you're going to see John Force Racing make the full pull with whatever schedule we've got. I don't expect us to have all the races. I do expect us to have more races at the NHRA national event level than we did last year. Last year, 11 events, if I remember correctly. I definitely think we're going to be hitting well above that, but it may very well fall below 20 events. That's what I'm expecting this year. It's not going to shock me. It's not going to shock me that we hear, hey, Pomona's not going to run. We're not going to run in the Pacific Northwest. It's just not going to shock me. It's not going to shock me at all. Stan chimes in, will Sonoma go off in July if they had to move the regional race in July to Vegas in the middle of October? All the things that I'm hearing, Stan, is Sonoma is a go. It looks good on the NASCAR side. It looks good. It looked good for Trans Am. It looks good for NHRA. That's what I'm getting right now. Everyone is expecting to make a trip to Sonoma. The management there has been fighting hard, apparently, to get that race in, and not just NHRA, but all the other racing that happens at that multi-race facility. I will say this, folks. When it comes to the NHRA schedule, remember, last year they said, we're done. Folks were saying, we're done. We're not going to have any season. Just pack it up, go home, let's do it next year. And they got racing in. And they got more than I think most of us thought they would get in. And I think that will be the case. And kudos to the NHRA. Though we might dog them, though we might say, what in the world are you doing at times, they're doing it, and they're doing it with fans in the stands, no matter what the number may be. And we've already seen some great events. Matter of fact, when I say great events, we just had one, the last Southern Nationals at Atlanta Dragway. What a great race it was. Folks, let me bring up this photo. This is Saturday, qualifying. Look at the stands. And you're only seeing one side. There are also spectator sides. There's stands left and right, packed, swamped at Atlanta Dragway for the last Southern Nationals. And the crowd was the same on Sunday. A great crowd on Saturday, a great crowd on Sunday, giving this last Southern Nationals a great send-off. And the racers, to their credit, Nitro was spectacular. There are times we can leave a race and say, man, Nitro just sucked. Like, they weren't getting down the track. There weren't any pedal fest. They were just cutting it off. Nitro was tight all the way through. If anybody, you were leaving the track going, man, what was happening? It was Pro Stock. Sometimes it's like, what was going on with those cars? Issue with the lights, even bit Alexis DeJoria. Nonetheless, the racing overall, I felt, was stellar through every class. Man, it was great to see first-time winners in the sportsman ranks. It was great to see the first-time winner in alcohol, Dylan Stott, first-time winner in top sportsman. Look, I'm going to play it. I played it on Competition Plus. I want to play it right here. Let me bring it up. The first time in 10 years, a door car wins in Super Comp. Let's see it. And it's in a Thunderbird nonetheless.
Chuck Trotter rolls in. Ken Hands in. Riders away on number 9. The last guy to win Super Cup and get out on the side was Kevin Kleinweber in Chicago, 2011. 009, dead 7 for Chuck Trotter. He just put it on Ken Hanlon.
Boom! The door car gets it done. I mean, you know, shades of Bob Glidden with a red-looking Thunderbird out there in Super Comp taking down the dragster. I mean, how cool is that? And guys, I'm excited over Super Comp. I'm not a Super Comp fan. I don't like these guys that lurch out. I don't like it. But you've got to get excited about the first time in 10 years. That is just cool. Yes, 426 Hemi. Those views of the ATL were great to see. Wes DiStefano chimes in. The man in Outlaw Pro 632, had him on last week. Congratulations to you, Wes. You won there in Bowling Green. Folks, he called out the competition. He said to Jim, he said to Dylan, he said to all of them, look, we're going to show up, we're going to race, and we're going to win, and he did it. And with Wes chiming in, let's talk a little PDRA. Some interesting developments even today, and we need to take a look at the winners. And look, it's only 2 races in. But I'm a points guy. I love looking at the points, and we've got some shakeups. Congratulations to Jay Cox, the pumpkin. He gets it done in Pro Nitrous, stopping the Jim Halsey and Tommy Franklin narrative. King Tut, all recognize. Todd Tutterow, he gets it done in Pro Boost. That is not a shock. The man can go anywhere and win. You knew it was not going to take long at all for him to get a win. Justin Kirk, you've heard it. Mr. Bucks Ride gets it done. First win, third-generation driver, and he really shakes up the Mountain Motor Pro Stock, Extreme Pro Stock boys. And there he is, who we had on last week, Wes, with the wheels, bringing the wheels up out of the lights there at the starting line. He got the win for the Door Slammer Derby. Love the name, by the way. Door Slammer Derby for the PDRA. With that being said, I want to go over points real quick when it comes to the PDRA. Pro Nitrous, the top 3 are only separated by 10 points. The top 3 are only separated by 10 points. Jim Halsey leads it. Ron Minks, I cannot get his name right. I'll get it right eventually. Ron is second, and third is Jay Cox. Tommy Franklin sits 5th right now with 576 points, and the leaders are sitting in the 775 point range. Tommy Franklin has got to find some speed here, and I think soon, to remain competitive with the likes of a Jim Halsey. But congratulations again to Jay Cox, shaking it up in PDRA competition. Pro Boost, the top 4, ladies and gentlemen, the top 4 are within 6 points of each other. Again, looks like it's going to be a great competitive battle as it was last year in Pro Boost. Randy Rutherford is number 1. Todd Tutterow sits second. Third, Kevin Rivenbark. Fourth, Johnny Camp. and they are within 6 points of each other. In Extreme Pro Stock, also known as Mountain Motor Pro Stock, the top 3 are separated by 100 points each. Listen to this. Johnny Placino sits 3rd with 476 points. I didn't think second race in we'd be saying that Johnny Placino was 3rd in points. I expect him to be 2nd or 1st in points. Second is Chris Powers with 578 points. And whoa, by the way, 1st in points in the Extreme Pro Stock ranks, it is Stephen Boone with 675 points. And the guy with probably the baddest hot rod out there, J.R. Carr, isn't really in the picture right now. Definitely, he's got the car to come back. But folks, keep your eye on Extreme Pro Stock in the PDRA. I think there are going to be some big swings in that category, and it will be highly competitive. Outlaw Pro 632, Outlaw Pro 632, 632. We'll go with that. Well, imagine this. Mr. DeStefano is leading by 1,030 points. Second is Jim Plekarski at 981 points, and the rest of the field is wondering what they got to do. Darrell in 3rd sits with 678 points. And rules were shifted today. That has definitely been the talk so far in the PDRA. Rules adjustments made in this class, 632. Apparently, mostly it has to do with weight and some shots of nitrous, apparently. We'll see how that works out. Rules have been adjusted. We'll see if the competition tightens up. But it seems pretty tight to me, at least between Mr. DeStefano and Plekarski there at the top. We'll see what the Voss boys and Camry Caruso and others have got to say about it in Pro Outlaw 632. Well, folks, we're nearing having our guest on tonight. Before we move to that, I do want to bring up a little bit of Sega news. I love my Southeast Gassers Association gang. The Southeast Gassers Association, apparently they've worked out a deal, southeastgassers.tv. That's being supported by Speed Sport TV Live. Yes, you can watch now, apparently, live Southeast Gasser Association action at southeastgassers.tv, and they are in competition this very week in the great state of Alabama. So if you're anywhere near Alabama, Mount Olive, Alabama, I believe it is, go check out the Southeast Gassers live and in person. But if you can't see them live, you can see them live on the computer screen at southeastgassers.tv. By the way, remember on YouTube, I put out this great video last week, the greatest pro stock comeback, following the 1986 to 1987 journey for Bob Glidden from Southern Nationals to Southern Nationals, including his 86 title win in pro stock. You can check that out on the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel, and be sure to hit the subscribe button. Sam, welcome to have you on. Yes, I know. I wanted to get Wes on the phone. I was going to call him. I'll have to get the lowdown later and talk to Corey Voss and get the lowdown on what all the rules amendments really do mean and what they're thinking. Wes, I know you are watching. Feel free to put in the chat what people are thinking in 632 about the rules. I do know in one section of comments, there was an individual that said, is this still an April Fool's joke? So, I mean, I'm sure many are putting a wide range of opinions out on the rules. Very quickly, before we go to our guests, about to bring on the latest NHRA rookie in Top Fuel. NASCAR, I'm going to talk a little bit of NASCAR because I want to relate it to NHRA. NASCAR had a huge reveal this week. NASCAR had a huge reveal this week. They revealed the next generation of NASCAR. And the next generation of NASCAR has been hyped as a car that is going to bring racing closer and is going to be a going back to the roots to try to give more brand identity from the OEMs, the manufacturers, and make it where brand loyalty comes back into play in the world of NASCAR racing. And whether they have accomplished that or not, I'm not here to discuss that. What I want to discuss is the buildup. For 2 years, there has been sneak peeks of tests with a brand new car. There's been tales that what you're seeing will not be the final product. But no, it's going to look more like the brands they portray, the Camry, Mustang, Camaro. You have had the hype around it, and they have it in this huge studio with lights and music, and the cars roll out from behind a curtain, and you see them in the flesh, as it were, all live on YouTube and internet and across the waves. Folks, we need the NHRA doing that with Pro Stock. The NHRA needs to make an announcement. They need to do it this year. They need to get the Pro Stock guys together, and they need to say to all those in Pro Stock, we're going to get back to the roots of Pro Stock, and we are going to get these cars looking again near their stock counterpart. And we're going to make a big deal about it. We're going to get the OEMs involved. Maybe we can even finally get a new OEM involved. And we're going to make these things look more stock. We're going to go back to the golden era of Pro Stock drag racing. We're going to make this a big deal. We're going to get a team together and develop a car that will be racy for each and every manufacturer, but it looks like it should on the showroom floor, and start putting it out. Put teasers out there, put little videos out there, have a press conference and say, we're going to change Pro Stock. We're going to get back to our roots, and we're going to make, well, the natural aspirated kings of door slammers great again. I know that's not MAGA, but maybe someone can come up with a hat or t-shirt along that lines. Make Pro Stock great again. And it's about getting them back to stock appearance. And I don't even have to have hood scoops. You want hood scoops? Fine. Maybe make that an option. I don't care. Let's make them look stock once again. They can have the tube chassis. They can be carbon fiber, all the fancy technology, EFI, let them go to carburetors. I don't care. Let's get back to that. And let's put, what I'm getting at is NASCAR said, hey, we're going to do something new. And they hyped it. NHRA, they don't hype anything. What happens when a brand new car rolls out? And God bless for RJ race cars and Jerry Bickle race cars and quarter mile race cars and all the other race car shops. When they put a car out, they'll give you pictures. But that's like the first time you see a brand new body. And it comes from that single source. The NHRA needs to pull the car builders together. They need to pull Pro Stock together. And they need to say 3-5 years, we're going to have a brand new car. And these cars are going to look more stock. They need to talk to Chevrolet. They need to talk to Ford. They need to talk to Toyota. They need to talk to Dodge. They need to talk to everybody and say, we're going to have these cars look stock again. We're going to make a big deal about it. We're going to have an unveiling about it. We're going to tell the whole world about it and get some hype around Pro Stock once again. The NHRA just does it so small time. I'm tired of it. I think they do a great job in a lot of ways. Man, make a big deal out of something. By the way, let's do it for Funny Car too. Just saying. Make things stock appearing again. There's another t-shirt for you. I think Pro Stock is a great class. Highly competitive. I enjoy watching them to this day. But you have to admit, they don't really look like their stock counterparts whatsoever. You saw that video of that Super Comp winner. That was a Thunderbird. That was a Thunderbird. Okay? And you could tell it was a Thunderbird. I really can't tell that the Mustang or the Camaro, well, look like what they do. All I'm saying is make a big deal. Put it out there, present it, and build some hype around it and get the NHRA engaged. Well, look, I have ranted long enough. We need to get our guest on. So let me take a quick break, and we will bring our guest on, Buddy Hull, the newest NHRA Top Fuel rookie. He was riding there in the Terry Haddock Top Fuel Dragster at Atlanta Dragway for the last Southern Nationals. This word from Power Built Tools. And folks, use the promo code MMR15, get 15% off. It helps me out, and you get tools. Who doesn't want tools and cheaper? Power Built Tools exemplifies innovation in the tool industry. From hand tools, power tools, and even tool storage. Check out powerbuilt.com for Power Built Tools. And remember, use promo code MMR15 for 15% off at purchase. Buddy, how you doing tonight, man?
Good, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
Hey, thanks for being on. As I told you there at Atlanta, I have kind of this stream going on. Newly licensed people, they got to make the media tour first to Between the Slicks. So we're glad to have you on. And man, look, let's start off with your first race was the last Southern Nationals at Atlanta Dragway. So your thoughts having your first at the last, man?
Man, pretty cool. You know, it was an honor for sure. I'd been to that track before with my father back in the 90s, racing top alcohol funny car. And it you know, it hasn't changed. It's changed, but it hasn't changed. And so it was cool getting there. You know, I drove the truck and trailer and the cars out there. So I got the full experience, man. It was awesome. But super cool to be a part of that. An amazing spot to make my debut. And I'm overly thankful. So.
Very cool, man. Well, look, let's go back to before Q1. I'm gonna bring up some photos. Tell me what's going through your mind in the staging lanes. You're rocking, you're rocking the black threads there in the fire suit. Got your company Vertex on top of the car, and ready to go out there for Q1 and stomp on that loud pedal. What's going through your mind, man?
Do a great job. You know, focus on the task at hand, which is, you know, get in the car and you know, do the same thing every single time. You know, don't get excited. Just do the same things that I've been doing in the prior runs that I've made in the car. So, you know, I don't get really too excited about things. I try to stay calm, cool, collected, and just get in there and just do my thing, man, and enjoy it while I'm doing it. So, I enjoy the challenge of driving the cars. That's the one thing that gets me most excited. It's like taming a beast, and I absolutely love it. So. I just focus. The run goes through my head multiple times. You know, I try to vision what it's going to look like and what it's going to feel like, so that way I'm fully prepared. I've always believed in seeing things before they happen, and that's what I do, man. And soak it all in. It's all good. All
right, this photo right here, you're pulling through the water box at Atlanta Dragway, NHRA Southern Nationals. All right, I know you've driven fast cars before, and you're licensed in this thing, but this is the first competitive pass in Top Fuel for qualifying NHRA national event. Did it hit at all differently, or is it machine mode at that point for you?
Man, no. As a matter of fact, I actually expected it to be different, and it wasn't. You know, even on race day, even on Sunday, you know, I expected my head to be a little bit different. But I got to be honest with you, I didn't even see anybody there. You know, I saw, the windshield of that race car. I saw the center of the racetrack. I saw my crew guys. And to be honest with you, that's just what I paid attention to. It didn't matter to me. You know, there's a job to do, and you got to focus on getting the job done. You can't be distracted by anything. I mean, these cars they're no joke. You know, they're 11,000 horsepower monsters. And so, the last thing you want to be is distracted by anything or anyone. So honestly, the answer is no. You know, I just treated it the same way I treated the car at Las Vegas when there was literally no one there. So, yeah.
All right, very cool. You know, keep everything under control where there's no problems at Houston, but Q1 did have some issues. I'm going to show the video clip, and you give me the rundown on what happened in Q1 to the car and what type of work was afterwards. You know, sometimes these things look nasty, but they're not as bad as they look. So after we play the video, give us a rundown. Ooh, what happened, man?
Boom. Yeah. It made too much horsepower. So there is a fuel control valve on these cars called an all valve. And essentially that all valve stuck in a position, leaned the car out and made too much power and blew the tires off just like that. And, people can sit in the stands, other drivers can say, oh, you should be able to catch that. Okay. I don't know anyone in the world that can catch a car that quick. Whenever you let go of that brake and smash the pedal and it instantly goes up like that, there's no catching it. But it didn't hurt itself too bad. Put out all the panels, hurt a head, and that's really about it. It took a while to get it fixed. We were up pretty late to get it done, but it was actually, of course, all worth it. But no, it didn't hurt itself that bad. It looked much worse than what it was. And in the pictures, you see this big old fireball, and it's just a flash fire. It's really not that bad. So anyway.
Right. They're really, it's a big boom, big flash, but with everything they have today to save these things, it's not that bad. Like there was a boomer in Las Vegas with, I think it was Todd in the car, Todd Payton, I believe it was that weekend. And again, it wasn't that bad either. Yeah. So, we're not in the 80s where if you have something like this, you lose everything. Thank God. And I'm sure Terry's very thankful as well for that case. So we got a question from Stan. And this has been going on in the comment section. He's like, cool. I was just saying who's bigger, Hagen or Buddy. So yeah, who's bigger, man? Have y'all sized up yet? Who's got the bigger guns, you or Hagen?
No, we actually haven't sized up. I've actually never met Matt. I have no idea who's bigger. I really don't know, but I think he's taller than me for sure. Weight wise, I honestly don't know. At some point, I'm sure there's a lot of people are talking about it. You know what I mean? I'm sure we'll get together and make some kind of fun out of it and some kind of, this guy against that guy, Top Fuel versus Funny Car kind of deal. It'd be cool to do something like that. Matt is a really cool guy. I've never met him, but I already know he's a cool guy. I can tell by his demeanor on camera and things like that. So I don't know. All I know is I bet he's not stronger than me.
There it is. There it is. You bet he's not stronger than you are. Yeah, we're going to work that out, man. We're going to get you and Hagen together and then get the tape measure out and get some pump going on. See who's out there in NHRA taking.
Let's just do a powerlifting meet right here in somebody's pits.
Hey, yeah, find a pole, put some blocks on it. And then go put the heads on, whatever. Yeah. We'll figure it out. We'll make it drag racing centric and yet show who's the strongest out there. Definitely.
Be cool. But I'm sure we'll make something of it for sure. That's cool,
yeah. We got to do that. We got to do that.
Yep,
Matt's been needing a challenger for a while. All those small funny car drivers, he's been needing a challenger. Definitely. So
that's right.
Speaking of the funny car, had you ever warmed up the funny car before Atlanta, or was Sunday kind of the first time you got to warm it up?
Terry's funny car?
Yes, right.
That was the first time. So there was an issue that Terry needed to be on the outside of the car specifically, and he just told me to hop in the car. So I've driven a nitro funny car before in altered trim. So same thing, but there is nothing like sitting in the seat of a fuel funny car. There's nothing. Top Fuel is awesome. I mean, it is way cool, but there is nothing cooler than sitting in a nitro funny car. It's the coolest thing in the world. So,
well, man, look, we're going to take a quick break. Let's see you warming it up. And well, thank God Terry still gives us some whack out there, and I like it.
That's right.
And the crowd goes wild, man. Love a throttle whack
yeah.
in the NHRA pits. Nothing like it. So, look, let's do some talking on Mr. Haddock. I have not had him on the show yet,
Yeah.
and I've been interacting with Terry for, maybe a little over a year and a half now, and a lot of people will look at Terry and go, this guy is this rough and tumble guy and grouchy and something like that. But he's really not. Like, he cuts up, he can laugh, and he's got some quirks to him, but he's one of the hardest working guys out there, and he knows his stuff. So what has been your experience working with Terry Haddock, licensing, and him being a guy giving direction, pulling into the beams, and going top fuel racing?
Yeah, so I truly believe that Terry is probably one of the most underrated, most talented people, and definitely the hardest working guy in NHRA. He's the guy that builds it, tunes it, drives it, pays the bills, and somehow makes it all happen. You give that guy a budget, and it's going to be game over. It's just what it is. From a perspective of being his driver, I've driven other people's cars, and obviously driven my own car for many years. I've gotten advice from a lot of different people on best practices. Terry's the best teacher I've ever had. He's extremely patient. He knows how to explain things to me that make sense to me, and I can never thank him enough. I mean, and we're buddies too. So he and I are friends. We hang out at the shop, and you're right. He's not a rough and tumble guy at all. He's a goofball. He's a complete goofball. People just don't see that side of him. He loves to give people a hard time, and he loves to get it back. And he and I have a special project we're working on as well that's going to be really cool that someday we should get back on the show and talk about, because it's super cool, that no one knows about. But no, and working with Terry's incredible. The entire team's amazing. I mean, he has this guy named Austin that works for him. Austin's a young kid, and went to automotive school, and Terry met him, and Terry's taken this young man and just made him into like this animal. Like, this kid does the work of like 4 people and does it the right way. It's not like he's hurrying around and messing things up. No, he does the work of like 4 people, does it right every single time. And why I bring that up is because his teacher, Terry, taught him that way. Terry does the work of 3 or 4 people. Again, he builds the cars, he tunes the cars, he drives the cars, he pays the bills, he drives the truck and trailer to the track, he sets up the awning, he does it all. Again, one of the most underrated and one of the most talented guys in all of NHRA. And if you give that guy a budget, it'd be an amazing thing. So if you're watching and you have a lot of money and you want to give it to us, give me a call.
There you go. You'd have an experienced driver in a lot of the ranks of drag racing with an experienced tuner and builder in Terry Haddock. And yes, crewman Austin, I kind of joke with Austin, been trying to get him on the show and he won't come on. So we need to get him on the show. Maybe you can keep ragging him and I'll rag him. He needs to come on.
I will.
Yeah, he's got a
such
great
a good
story.
Kid. He does. He's got a really cool story. And again, it's in the THR camp. Like, we all work hard. Like, there's no such thing as, Buddy's a driver, he must just drive the car. No. We all have jobs, and we all have the jobs of 2 and 3 people. That's what we do. And it's the culture of his camp, and it's an amazing culture. And we have fun. It's a lot of work, but when you're working with good people, you have a lot of fun while doing it. There's some late nights, there's some early mornings, and there's a lot in between. But man, we have a good time. And I haven't enjoyed myself at the racetrack this much in a long time. And it does have nothing to do with the car that I'm driving. Is it a lot of fun? Yeah. Is it an amazing challenge? Of course it is, and I love it. But the fun is in getting to the track and hanging out with the guys and working on the car together. That's where all the fun's at. I mean, my buddy Robert, he and I drove the semi out to Atlanta, and we just told stories the whole time. And he had some good ones, and I had some good ones, and we learned a lot about each other. And to me that's drag racing. It's not just about what the fans see. If the car is going down the track and scoreboard lights up, there's a winner. the people that do it, it's truly a subculture. It's something, unless you're a part of it and you've been a part of it, you really don't even understand how it works, And I try to paint that picture and emulate that to people, because it's the most American thing on the planet. Nothing is more American. As far as I know, it is the only sport truly founded in America. People can say baseball, not really. Other forms of motorsports, not really. But drag racing really did start in America. And I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody knows something I don't know. But as far as I know, it is the only sport that's actually started in America. It's as American as it gets, and there's a lot more to it than what the fans see. If you're a part of it, or better yet, if you're watching it and you're not a part of it, and you know somebody that you can be a part of it, you should give it a shot. You should get involved. Yeah, there's just nothing like it. So.
There definitely is nothing like it. And yes, anyone that's a fan, find some way, I think, at least for one weekend, to become a part of it deeper than you ever have been. And maybe it's not at the nitro level. Maybe it's at a regional level. Maybe it's even a bracket racing level. Just get a part of it and get a better taste of it for sure. So round one, Sunday, Southern Nationals.
Yeah.
You here's doing the burnout there, and we've got you backing up, making Austin himself do some running, a whole lot less than when Terry does a 8th mile burnout in the Pro Mod. I've seen Austin have to run on that occasion. But you had a tough draw in Mr. Steve Torrance. There he is out ahead of you, and he did pick up the win in round one. But if I remember correctly, 4 flat, which was not a bad run at all for what is usually a tricky Atlanta track. So talk to me about round one and roll into your next round one and when we can expect to see you back out.
Yeah, so we went into round one with no data in terms of that car going on the track. We obviously heard it in Q1, and so we had no data. So Terry took the information off his funny car along with all the information in the past to put a tune-up in the car. We just needed to go A to B. As quirky as it may sound, we don't care as another lane. It doesn't matter. We are racing ourselves. We are trying to run the best number we can with the parts we have, with the budget that we have. And that's exactly what Terry's great at. He knows how to do that. So, we went up there with the A to B mindset. It doesn't matter if it's Steve Torrance in the other lane, or I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'll race anybody. He jumped right out there on me, and about 850 feet, I actually clicked the car off. There was just no reason. I felt the funny vibration. It was mixing up, cylinders. It was doing something, and I felt it. So between that and him being across the finish line already, I actually clicked it off. So it was on probably like a mid 90 pass or something like that, maybe a low 90 pass, maybe 310, somewhere in that range. But there was just no reason to leave my foot in it. I treat Terry's car like I own it. I pretend as if though my right foot is connected to my wallet, and there was just no reason for me to carry the car out the back door. It was just silly. So I did what I thought was the right thing and just took my big fat foot out of it. Can't hear you. We've lost some sound here.
All right. Can you hear me now?
I got you. Can you guys hear me okay now?
All right. We're back.
Awesome.
We're back.
I'm sorry about that.
No, it's fine. It's fun. You're it was me. It happens, man. It happens.
Oh, got it.
So
okay.
You're good. All right. Let's get back in a roll here. Yes. So schedule wise, what are you thinking for the rest of the year? Had this, you've got the license, you debuted at the Southern Nationals. How many more, or was that it? What's the thoughts?
No, I should be in the car for 8 more races this year, depending, right? We all know that there's some factors that could, cause some races to get canceled. But as of right now, I have scheduled 8 more for this year. And man, I'm looking forward to them. Every time I get in that car, I feel better about it. I get more comfortable in there, and so I'm looking forward to it. We have a car that can go some rounds, and we're working on some things to improve that car as well. So not only can it go rounds now, but we're doing some things, and Terry and I are working on putting some parts and pieces together that can get that car in a little bit even more competitive fashion, if you will. So we have a great plan, and we're going to stick to our plan. Again, we don't care what anyone else is doing. We're just trying to do what we do, keep the car together, not bruise the thing, and go out there and do a great job. I always say in the end, you're racing yourself anyway, right? And you got to go as fast as you can on the budget you have, and most importantly, put on a great show for the fans. I mean, NHRA drag racing at that level, it's all about the fans. Without fans, we can't even do what we do. So, and I don't think we even talk about that enough. The people that come and buy the tickets and buy the pops and the burgers and the T-shirts and all that stuff, they're really the ones that that keep us out here. Yeah, the sponsors give us money to run the cars, but the truth is, without fans and without all these people that just love the sport and love to be entertained by it, none of us are out here anyway. So anytime I get a chance, when I'm out and about throughout the day, talking to my customers, I own a construction company. I always get a chance to talk about drag racing. I do, and not about my drag racing, about drag racing, trying to promote the sport, get people to watch it or whatever, and I've always said it. We need some more character in drag racing. We need some more real deal characters in drag racing that aren't afraid just to say what they want to say and do what they want to do within a certain ethical, moral, I guess, boundary, if you will. Because that's what people want. Everyone wants real these days. And I could go on about that forever. Maybe that's another subject that you and I could talk about at a later day. But so anyway, 8 more on the schedule. Hopefully, we'll see. And next year, we don't know yet. We have some other things. We have specifically one other project that we're working on together that may change things for next year, but we don't know yet. So stay tuned for that.
All right. Great plan. 8 more. Looking forward to seeing you back out the track. Completely agree. We need characters back in drag racing.
Man. Characters.
The characters made drag racing, and I think motorsports overall great. And we've got to a time period where so many people have come through racecraft of a professional manner that we've lost characters. I wish people would celebrate a little bit more when Steve Torrance is extremely emotional, whether it's positive or negative. That's him being emotional. I think we need that over cookie cutter. And in drag racing, I think we need a Tricky Ricky Smith in fuel, deep staging and shallowing and, holding someone out a little bit. That's what we all talk about. I mean, we need it.
I mean, that's, to me, within a certain boundary, let's be real, drama sells, right? And not only does drama sell, but, speaking from your heart and being real is what really sells. And I think, and I'm not speaking poorly of anybody or how they run their operation or any of the drivers. I just think that in general, we could all do a better job at being more real because people can relate better, they can connect better. And I think the fans would appreciate it more. That's just my opinion, though. Everyone has their own opinion, And some drivers, they not maybe operate that way. It's part of their agreement with their sponsor. Whatever, not my business. I know I wouldn't agree with that with a sponsor. I always want to be me. It's just like, what top fuel drivers, 5'9", weighs 250 pounds, has a beard and a bald head. None. And I'm not changing. That's just who I am. Like me, love me, hate me. That's who I am. I'm not going to change. And I'm not saying that everyone should be that way. I'm just saying that I think in general, the world appreciates people being themselves and being real. And that's what draws people in. I really believe that. And I wish we had more of that.
Completely agree. Completely agree.
Like, man, I feel like I'm in competition with you on my beard. You're like the only guy at the drag strip that I'm in competition with. And man, you know what? You know what this looks like when I get out of the car, by the way? So you'll be able to make fun of me. Yours will be all pretty. And you'll see me on at some point, see me on camera. My beard's a wreck. So you'll be able to make fun of me.
Oh, man. Look, I hate, talking about beard life, I hate the mask ring that you worst. Get. Oh, it's terrible. It's all dented in, and it's terrible. I hate the mask ring. I hate it.
You don't have any gray yet. You'll get there.
I don't have gray yet. It's going to happen. It's going to happen for sure. Then I can say I can have character in my beard. I'll have to put it that way. Well, I got character.
You'll get it, man. And I got to tell you, I was thinking about this earlier today. When you first asked me on, you said you want to be on Between the Slicks, and I'm like, does he think of my rear end? Like, does he really think that about me? Anyway, dad joke. Sorry, man.
It's a play off of, what is that guy's name that does In Between the Ferns? That's what it's a play on, Between the Slicks. And it's not quite as raunchy comedy as he is. Definitely, it's a little bit more serious. But cool. we talk about everything drag racing here. You know, for example, you are in Nitro and Top Fuel. Last week we had Outlaw 632, and next week hopefully I'll have Top Sportsman with Dylan Stott. And week after that, hopefully have Megan Smith and Alcohol. So cool. Wherever drag racing happens, we'll talk about it. And again, glad to have you on the show, definitely. And look, we got a few more moments before we hit 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time toward the end of the show. And I want to get a little bit more on the life story, because no one gets in a Top Fuel dragster that I have come to see and notice that they have not been successful somewhere else. And success, to truly get it, it's hard work. It takes time. And I'm going to bring this photo up, and that name, Vertex, you shared with me a little bit of the company you own, that company, what it does, and how successful you are in the industry that it's in. Talk to me about the journey, the life journey to live out a dream driving Top Fuel.
Yeah, you know, I can go back a long way. I started when I was a child. I used working out as an outlet. You know, my best friend growing up, his name was Gabe. His father, Mike, he always had a genuine interest in me, and I got into working out, you know, when I was really super young, and I really don't know why. I just did. I don't know. This is my thing, whatever. And his dad bought a weight set for the basement, and you know, everyone else would be upstairs goofing off, and I'd be downstairs working out. I really don't know how that became my outlet, but it became a huge outlet for me. And it moved into, okay, I got pretty good at this, so now I'm going to start competing. And then I competed all the way through the very moment I started driving race cars in 2008. So I give every single bit of credit towards my success in business and in drag racing actually to powerlifting. And I'll explain to you why. Because it taught me discipline like nothing else. When all my friends were out on the weekends partying, I couldn't do it, because if I was doing that, it meant I couldn't wake up the next day and perform in the gym or perform 2 days later. When you know, it just helped me stay on track. And what that did was it taught me massive levels of discipline, and all that discipline carried over into my business life. And I turned my first hobby into a career, which was, you know, I started in the health clubs. I actually started working at a YMCA when I was in high school. I was a hustler in high school, man. I worked at the YMCA, and you're like this. I was a DJ at a skating rink, man. I worked for a farmer. I'd do anything to make money. Like, I was absolutely 100% a hustler. I would do anything that I had to do to make a buck. Anyway, where's it going with this? So here's the deal. So it taught me discipline. And when I've always believed that discipline directly correlates to everything in life, right? If you're disciplined, you have great work ethic, you'll have a great attitude, you'll have a great mindset. And so hobby, new career, I started at the front desk. Actually, I started coaching youth league basketball in high school. In college, I worked the front desk at a health club. After that, I became a salesperson at a health club. Then I became an assistant manager at a health club, and then a general manager of a health club, and then a district manager of a health club. And then finally, at the peak of my career in the industry, I was an executive vice president for the largest health club chain in the world. I was one of those very select people that made it to the very top. And I made it to the very top with no diploma, with no college degree. And I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. I'm just saying if you have an incredible work ethic, a great attitude, and you do all the right things, a piece of paper means nothing. You can get anything you want in life if you just work hard and have a great attitude. So it went into that. And then through that, I learned about business. I basically got what I would consider a master's degree in business. I traveled the whole United States, opening up these health clubs and looking at every single part of that business. And it taught me business, and it directly correlates. And I still use the skills every single day in my business that I learned at that level in business. And I'm overly blessed. I'm overly thankful for all the people who work for me. They work their tails off every single day. I had over 100 people out in the field working for me today, swinging hammers, putting on roofs, tearing off roofs, fixing drywall, fixing floors, fixing baseboards, doing whatever they do. And then, obviously it moved right over to the drag racing. So my discipline from the drag racing transferred right over into the drag racing. From powerlifting turned over into the drag racing. By the way, I grew up drag racing. I'm a third generation drag racer. So, when I was a kid, I used to go to the track with my dad all the time. I never would have ever thought of being where I'm at right now when I was a kid, but I always had this dream. I was always the kid that was completely obsessed with the nitro cars. And we had an alcohol funny car. My dad and a few of his friends were partners on this car. And man, as soon as I heard the first fuel car run, boom, I'm in the stands. I could care less about those alcohol cars. Probably hurt my dad's feelings. But anyway, it transferred over to that. And funny story, I went from competitive powerlifting straight to driving race cars. And my first couple years, I have my old car is really wide, and I still didn't fit in the thing all the way. So I had to sit sideways, and it was crazy, but we made it happen. And that discipline, and that mindset from all those years of competing, I swear it correlates directly into the race car. Like you were asking me, what's going through your mind in the staging lanes, nothing besides getting in the car, doing the same thing I had done every single time. It didn't matter if I was in Las Vegas getting my license. It didn't matter if I was in Ennis, Texas getting my license, or any of the thousands of runs I've made in race cars in the last 13 years. It didn't matter. It's always the same thing. And I say that always correlates from all those years of competing and having to focus and stay focused on the task at hand. Regardless if I was at a state meet, a national meet, a world meet, it didn't matter. It doesn't matter, because in the end, you're only competing against yourself. And it just all correlates, man. So, I have a long life story. I don't know. Someday I should probably write a book. I don't know. I've had some amazing experiences, met some amazing people. I continue to meet them every single day. I couldn't be more thankful for life, and my opportunities. I cannot thank Terry enough. He and I became such good friends, and there's so much that goes into it, man. I am thankful, to say the least, about everything in my life and all the people in it. It's truly a blessing. And man, I just want to race cars. I just want to race full time. I know I can do it full time. I know I can run my business and not just Vertex, but I'm a partner in some other businesses as well. We can do it all. We can make it all happen, because I want to be out there mixing it up with the best of the best, and hopefully bringing some character to NHRA drag racing, and man, do a great job for Terry. That's all I want to do. I want to make my mentor proud.
Well, man, you've already realized a part of the dream because you have competed at the world's premier level and class of drag racing. You've already done it, and definitely looking forward to seeing what is in store for you and ahead of you, and hope things work out. Yes, bring some character back to the NHRA. That will definitely be cool. We have apparently already been dubbed the Amish Brothers. So, funny story, I was interviewing John Force on the Competition Plus Power Hour, and John was being John, and by the end of the show, I was Stevie Wonder.
Oh, geez.
I was the Stevie Wonder Amish guy, and it has stuck being the Amish guy. So, yeah, anybody with a long beard, you're automatically Amish for whatever reason. I think mine being ginger is even worse. So, yes.
I actually own one of John's cars, and he calls me Bobby, so it's fine. At least he's somewhere close. I'm like, at least he calls me like something close. I feel important. You gotta
cut John a little bit of slack. Yeah. He's been on fire a lot, been upside down in sand pits, car split up on half of them. He's been through a lot. So if he's close, that's good enough.
I'm good with Bobby. You can just call me Bobby. I'm 100% okay with it. He's a great guy, man. John Force helps us out a lot, by the way.
Definitely,
all these guys do. All these other teams, the Schumacher teams and the Force teams, they really help Terry and I out with parts and stuff like that. We're very thankful for them, by the way.
They do. That's why it was a bit frustrating to me, or is frustrating to me, when people hate on Steve Torrence, for example. And I'm not saying I'm a Steve Torrence fan. There's a difference between being a fan and then just realizing, hey, this dude does something for the sport in its totality. And the Torrances do. I work for Doug Foley. The Torrances help out the Foley gang.
Sure.
And the Torrances help out the Leverage gang and Scuffing Tires and other things. Coletta helps it's more interconnected than people realize to keep the circus going, as it were.
Yeah. Well, so something else to think about too, we can't exist without them, essentially, right? They make the parts now. So, the Force and the Schumacher camps, they probably make, 50, 60% of the parts that we bolt on the cars. So without them, we're in trouble, and thank God they're good to us and good to all the other independent teams out there. And Steve Torrence is a great guy, by the way. It was funny. He was in the right lane. I was in the left lane. In Atlanta, if you're in the left lane, you got to let the guy in the right lane get off first because, it's a 90-degree turn down there. So anyway, he's pulled off. He's out of his car before I even get around the corner. I get around the corner. He's at the glass on my car. He's like, man, those Top Fuel cars are hard to get out of, and you're a big guy. You want me to help you out? He was super cool. Gave me a compliment and said, man, he goes, you did a great job up there. I would have never known that was your first round of Top Fuel drag racing. So he's a good dude. He didn't have to do that. He's the champ. I am not the champ, and he did not have to be there. But he left his crew in his car and immediately. No sooner than I pulled the brake on the car, he was literally at the glass. So it was super cool in him. He definitely a class act, and I can appreciate that because, again, he doesn't have to do that. None of those guys have to do that. And I was blessed to get some compliments from other guys and as well. So it's all good. It's all good.
Well, buddy, thank you for being on Between the Slicks tonight here with myself, the Monday Morning Racer. Truly appreciate it. And I know we will see more of you, and you'll be on the Monday Morning Racer camera in one way or another again. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Man, I want to thank you because you're doing something great for the sport. I don't know if anyone's flipped it around on you, but I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for everything you do. You don't have to have me on the show. You don't have to promote the sport. You don't have to do any of this stuff. And I don't think, people watching this, they're enjoying it, but they're not thinking about, oh man, this guy's, he's at 9 o'clock at night, working his tail off during our off hours so we can enjoy and learn about drag racing. So, man, thank you for doing this because without guys like you, we can't promote the sport at this kind of level. It's one thing on TV. That's one thing, but we need more of this. And man, you are doing one hell of a job. So I'm thankful for you. How about that?
Well, buddy, I appreciate that. And Yeah, look, I'm passionate about this thing. I was the kid rewatching 1986 NHRA over and over and over, about wore that VHS out. And, you know, I was at the drag strip in diapers, the Southern Nationals, and that was my home national event, did junior dragsters. And I have gotten a taste of a dream that I never thought would become a reality. And I want to truly help the sport move forward, because I feel like for too long, NHRA drag racing has been the redheaded stepchild of American motorsports, when I feel like it should be the premier of it.
Man, no one knows what it's like till they show up. I think that every human being on this earth should stand between two Top Fuel cars when the light flashes. They would be fans forever. There's nothing like it. There is no words that can describe the feeling that happens when two fuel cars, you know, it doesn't matter if it's Fuel Funny car or Top Fuel. Man, when you let go of that brake and you smash that pedal, there's nothing like it. I don't care what anyone says. Nothing will ever compare on this entire earth to that sound and that feel that people get. And once they go, dude, they're hooked. You don't have to be a car person. Man, I've taken people to the as a driver. Like I'm racing against the people I'm a fan of, right? So I go to the track. Doesn't matter if I'm working on a car. Doesn't matter if I'm not driving, whatever. I still go to the track. But anyway, it's as American as it gets, man.
It is. It is. Well, buddy, look, again, thank you for being on. Enjoy the rest of your evening out there in Texas, and we'll see you at the track soon.
Thanks, brother. Take care of that beard. All right.
We'll do. We'll do.
All right, bro.
Folks, buddy, hold on here. Between the Slicks, NHRA's newest rookie, Top Fuel. Great things ahead of him. Well, look, folks, remember, this weekend is Mother's Day, and my mom chimed in more than likely on the beer talk with the tears coming off the emoji of the smiley face. That's Mom, Terry Events Craft. Happy Mother's Day early to you, Mom. Thank you for all your support. And to every one of you, whether your mom is here or not, give thanks to Mom. Thank on Mom. Send that card. Send those flowers. If necessary, mend that relationship. We all need our moms for sure. I hope you have a great weekend. It looks like I'm going to be doing some circle track racing at Ace Speedway in the Cards Tour. You guys know I love it all, but most importantly, drag racing. We will be back here next week on Between the Slicks to talk what? Drag racing. We'll see who we get on. Maybe Dylan Stott, maybe Megan Smith, maybe someone I haven't even thought about. We will be here to talk about drag racing. Go tune in over at Outlaw Performance Entertainment, or Outlaw Performance ENT, in fact. And you've got Sam Smith going live with Antron Brown. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Tell another drag racing fan about this show, Between the Slicks. Until next time, God bless and keep the pedal to the metal.